So let's now move to the left part of the business model, key activities. What are the key activities they need to perform to execute their idea? The first one, and a very important one, is develop the core algorithm to put in motion that service, the algorithm that will allow them to deroute one bus to catch on the way a new customer within acceptable boundaries for other customers already in the bus. Along with that, they also need to develop the app that customers will be using for ordering the service. And there is also some marketing, some education to get people to understand what is that new type of urban transportation. The next block on the left is the key resources. First, funding. How much funding do Optiways need to execute and launch their idea? Intellectual properties. The core part of the intellectual properties in the Optiways case is the algorithmic core. Because again, this is the core know-how that they are developing that doesn't exist yet. There is also a core question in the case of Optiways that is logistic. That core question is, do they have to own their own fleet of buses? Do they have to hire drivers? Or is it something they can outsource? That brings us back to that borderline between the core know-how, the core asset, and things that you can outsource. The question there being, are buses and drivers part of the core know-how of a shared transportation mode? On one side, you may think, yes, owning the bus, hiring drivers is the best way to control the entire user experience, which is probably important up to a certain point. But it does come with a cost. Again, that represents a huge investment for Optiways. So let's get back to the DNA of the idea. Again, the DNA of the idea is to explore that intermediary point between public transportation and taxis. So that new type of trade-off between a new type of pricing and a new type of flexibility in between public transportation and taxis. And beyond these boundaries, you may think at first, well, ultimately, in that exploration phase, a bus is a bus, a driver is a driver. An increased quality of service might not impact that much customer behavior during the early days, the education phase. So probably the recommendation would be to find a partner to whom they could outsource the access to the fleet of buses and the crew of drivers. That will significantly lower the cost of entry in the business and allow them to very quickly explore at a higher scale the core business hypothesis. Third block on the left, key partners. We've already talked about it, so it comes now pretty straightforward. The core partner you have to identify the bus operators that you're going to partner with for launching your service. You might have another set of partners for doing some co-marketing, street marketing for catching the early group of early stage users. And fourth block on the left, the resulting cost structure. So in terms of investment, what have we got? The investment in research and development for developing the algorithm, which is crucial, developing the app, launching the service is probably important. In terms of fixed costs, what you have, the ongoing costs for running operations, the ongoing marketing investment throughout the test. And in terms of variable costs, probably the main component in the variable cost will be the access to the fleet of buses and hiring the drivers on a per night, per event base. So you're going to use that, try to scale the amount of investment expenses that is involved by that, and confront that with a business, a usage dynamic that you're going to measure during the early days to assess the viability of such a service. That's an example of how you build the first draft of the business model canvas starting from a very early days version of the pitch.